What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your review for Kandi and the Gang, Season 1, Episode 3. So we pick up this episode where we left off with Torrent and Philip going at it, and Philip is being rude to Torrent, and Torrent is matching his energy, okay? Philip talking about, Torrent was saying, well, why can't we just introduce ourselves to each other? Why does it have to be all the way up here and all down here? And Philip was like, well, I don't get paid to do what you want me to do. Torrent was like, okay, cool. Well, listen, I don't answer to you, and you can talk to Kandi and them if you have a problem with. Well, he didn't say I don't answer to you, but he was like, you can talk to Kandi and them if you have a problem with me being here. So then Philip was like, well, I really like to just get back to what I was doing because this was actually more entertaining or interesting than talking to you. And Torrent was like, but you started talking to me. Like, I wasn't bothering you. I came in here to do my measurements and mind my business. You were the one that asked me to come and have a conversation with you. So, like, don't do that. So then we had so then he went upstairs to talk to Kandi, and Philip went downstairs to talk to Don Juan. And of course, they're both telling each person their version of the story and their frustrations. So Kandi tells Torrent, listen, go on back in the room because he ain't in there no more. Go get your measurements. Go do whatever it was you were trying to do, and let me go figure out what's going on. So she goes downstairs to talk to Philip and with Don Juan. And Philip was like, listen, I don't like Torrent. I don't want to deal with Torrent. So you know what? You could deal with Torrent. You can handle it. He can respond. He can answer to you. I don't need him answering to me. And Kandi was like, well, hold up. Now that's a problem. Because that's what we hired you for. We hired you to handle the issues, the problems, the hard stuff. We hired you to be able to finesse and deal with the situations that need to be dealt with. Over at Blaze, there were some challenges. We brought you over here. So, yeah, that's not going to work. You basically telling me who will and won't answer to me and who will and won't respond to me. Like, no, you need to be able to deal with the hard issues. But I do understand part of where Philip is coming from, because if you want him on to run the restaurant, let him do it. Y'all are hiring people that he wouldn't necessarily hire because he doesn't think they work with what he's trying to do there. It sort of undermines what he's trying to do. If you say, listen, we need you to get this restaurant into shape because it's out of control, the people are out of control and it's suffering, then let him hire his own people. But you hiring people that he doesn't know and that he maybe wouldn't necessarily hire, I think is part of the problem. But okay. So then we see Patrick bring Torrent into the apartment so he can help him get the house, get the apartment together and decorate. Yeah, Patrick wants a whole sex closet in his bedroom. Which, listen, I ain't even mad at you about. I ain't judging you about it. Do what you do. Do what you do. If you like it, I love it. Later on in the episode, Torrent is talking to his girlfriend, Safari. Patrick is talking to his girlfriend, Safari. And he tells Safari that he got Torrent coming in and doing the decorating. And she was like, we don't need him. I can decorate. I can do it myself. Now she has an office. She has a body sculpting business, like the body sculpting, the lipo, the liquid lipo, and all of that. And they y'all know Bravo. They show all that she did in her office. It was cute. So, shout. So then he tells him that he wants to have a housewoman once he gets the house and what he wants to have a housewoman. So of course Torrent was like, okay, cool, we can make it happen. So he's gonna do his little housewoman. So the next day, or the next scene, down to the OLG, the restaurant is out of control. Not really, but they don't have a bartender. Brandon is trying to run his tables and get drinks, and there's no bartender. Dominique is running 2 hours late, and Brandon is sitting around chilling like he don't have no problem. Chandrika is doing what she does, getting the table set up and all this good stuff, and Brandon is on the phone. And every time we see Brandon, he is on the phone. And then Brandon is sitting at the bar eating his lunch. And then Brandon is, and they even saying to Brandon, listen, we need a bartender. We need somebody to make drinks. Like, can you help? Can you help? Can you help? And Brandon actually lets Brian go behind the bar and make drinks. And Brian was like, now everybody in here know what I'm struggling with. Everybody in here know what I got going on. Why he letting me go behind this bar and make these drinks? Like, he don't know this could be the day. This could be the reason. Now, that's not 100% on Brandon, but the point is valid. I have been in restaurants where they are short staffed, and I have actually seen managers busting tables. I have seen managers bring food out. I have seen managers behind the bar making drinks. Like, Brandon, that is part of your job. If people call out, or y'all are short staffed, or your girlfriend is running 2 hours late because she knows she can, then you need to be behind that bar and you need to be making those drinks and making sure that these people, that the tables are running smooth. Like, that is part of your responsibility as the manager. You sitting around acting like you don't have a care in the world, like everything is everything, that is a problem. Then the sink was stomped up. It was nasty. He did say he was calling somebody to come and clean the sink, but it just looked, it looked nasty. I can't, So Dominique finally shows up, and now she got the nerve to complain, because she complained about how dirty the bar is, because it looks like people, of course, they're rushing, they're busy, they got to get to their tables, they're just leaving stuff, they're going behind making a drink, leaving stuff, they're not wiping down, they're not cleaning like they should, and it did look dirty, and it was nasty, but I understood why it happened, because they were rushing, and they were trying to hurry up and get it done, and you come in here like, la-da-da-da-da, like you ain't got no care in the world. Yes, everybody in there got a reason to have an attitude about it. So Philip comes in and he asks Brandon, well, how did the day go? And Brandon is like, oh, it's cool. Everything was good. So Philip asked Chandrika, which I was glad to see that they were able to have a conversation. And Chandrika let him know, listen, this is what happened and that is what happened and that what happened. I mean, I held it down because I know I'm good at what I do. But Brandon was over there eating his whole lunch at the bar while we was running around here like chickens with our heads cut off. So Philip ends up going to have a conversation with Brandon. And basically, he's telling Brandon, look, bro, I'm going to need you to get some bass in your voice, and I'm going to need you to handle some things around here. Like, you supposed to be the manager. I'm going to need you to manage. Ain't nowhere in the world that, first of all, Dom showing up 2 hours late is a problem. But okay, she's 2 hours late. But you should have got in where you fit in. You should have done whatever you needed to do, and you didn't. And not only did you not do it, but you ain't seem to have no smoke for Dom when she did show up. Like I'm gonna need you to manage, sir. I'm gonna need you to manage. Now, Brandon in his confessional talking about that ain't what I do. That ain't how I run things. Get out my face and leave me alone. I mean, he didn't say that to Philip. He said that in his confessional. But I'm thinking, get out your face and leave you alone, sir. Sir. He not wrong. Now, y'all know when Philip is wrong, I'm gonna give it to him. But when Philip ain't wrong, he ain't wrong in this situation. Brandon, step it up. Get it up, bruh. Get it up. So then we see the crew. They went out for drinks. They get together once a week at this restaurant and they go have drinks and stuff. And pretty much all that went down in this particular scene was we saw Patrick invite everybody to his housewarming, including Chandrika and her new man. We find out that Chandrika's man know Brian. They friends. They know each other. And that Patrick at one point in time almost got into an altercation with Chandrika's man. So we know that some of the little dynamics that went down with that. And then Brandon is flirting with Dominique, and everybody knows what's going on between Brandon and Dominique. And Dominique is the only one that seemed to think that she keeping a secret, because nobody's keeping that secret. Everybody knows. And Brandon was there. Brian was there, and they asked him what he was drinking, and Chandrika had a conversation with him about his sobriety, and she was like, well, you seem to be doing good, and I'm gonna keep my eye on you. And so and we had a really touching scene later on in the episode between Brian and Torrin, which again was about his sobriety. And baby, this man said he was drinking a gallon of vodka a day. He said he was throwing up blood. That's how bad it got. And he said that, he didn't realize he had a problem until the pandemic, when he was home all day and he ain't had nothing to do but drink and get high. Because he said drugs was an issue too. He said the turning point for him was when his sister harmed herself, morbidly harmed herself. And she was 49, I think he said, 49 years old, or 40, in her 40s. And he said that really did something to him. But what it was when they went to her apartment, they found an empty gallon of vodka. And so he said that just really really did it for him. And him and Torn are really good friends, and so it was funny because the producers were like, "Well, Brian said y'all used to date," and Torn was like, "Well, I mean, yeah, you could say that." So you could say that. So we end up having our shift meeting at the beginning of the meeting, and Brandon, in an attempt to do what he was asked to do by his supervisor, he trying to be a little more assertive, telling people what they need to do. And so they get right in the meeting. They gonna end the meeting with a prayer. Now again, let me just say this, Kandi. I know y'all in the Bible Belt, and I know that maybe don't nobody have no problem with it. But the proper way to do that is you ask people if you want to pray. If you don't want to pray, you don't have to pray. But everybody else, we're gonna end this meeting, with a word of prayer. Now, you just got to give people the opportunity to opt out of that if that's not what they want to do. If they not comfortable with it, and that ain't their religion. You just can't be making people pray. But I know I'm being nitpicky. But again, I'm just saying, these are the things that people will come back and sue you. Somebody who's a Muslim or an atheist might come back and be like, they said at the end of every meeting, they made us pray. I don't even believe in God. You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I'm just telling you. That's what I know. Moving on. So we have Brian and Rashid, that baby name. They sitting at the bar. Now, they not supposed to be sitting at the bar during the time, but Brian was like, well, hell, Brandon sits at the bar all the time, so I'm not seeing what the problem is, So Brandon comes over there because, again, he's trying to be more assertive, right? He's trying to do what his boss asked him to do, and he's asking Brian and them to get up from the table. Now, Rashid gets up because he had already told Brian, we ain't supposed to be sitting at this damn bar. But Brian was like, why? I gotta get up. And Brandon was like, because, you're not supposed to be sitting here. And he was like, well, I'm not bothering nothing. What's the problem? And basically, it was a back and forth. And Brandon finally was like, can you please? I'm going to need you to get up. So Brian actually, he ends up getting up. But Brian's thing was, listen, I'm just following leadership. You sit at the table. I mean, he didn't say this to him, but he said this in his confessional. I mean, you sit at the table and do what you want to do. I'm just following what the leadership does. So now Brandon is mad because Brian has tested his authority, okay? He has tested his authority and he is upset. So Brandon goes to tell Philip. And Philip is like, well, Don Juan is there at the time. So they decide that they need to have a conversation with Brian and address it and nip it in the bud. Because Don Juan's thing is, Brandon, you're not really showing me that you're ready to do this job. You're not really showing me that you're ready to be a manager. And Philip is like, listen, this is what we told you to do. So I need to just make sure that you doing what I asked you to do. So he comes through and Brian sits down and Brandon is telling Brian the problem. He's telling Brian, I tried to talk to you and I didn't really appreciate, that your response. And so Brian was like, okay, and then Philip intervened and Philip starts going off on Brian. And Brian was like, what is the problem? And he was like, listen, I have been in your shoes. Brian was like, you've never been in my shoes. I mean, I wear a size 8. What size you wear? And I said, oh, shit. So then Philip starts going off about how he don't like Brian. Brian don't do nothing. Brian, and Brian is like, what the hell? Like, what are you talking about? And so they get to going back and forth, right? So then Philip says, listen, this is not what I'm trying to do here. Okay, this is not the climate that I'm trying to establish in this restaurant. And so with that being said, Brian is suspended. So now Brian is like, based off of what? And I'm thinking, maybe based off the fact that you just told that man, like, you was just nasty. You was a little disrespectful. Like, Brian, you were disrespectful. Again, when Philip ain't doing nothing, when Philip is wrong, I'm going to give it to Philip. But on that one, Brian, that was you. That was you, Brian. Because let's go all the way back to the beginning. You were wrong for sitting at that bar, and you knew you was wrong for sitting at that bar because you knew you wasn't supposed to be there. Then you was talking back to your manager, your supervisor, who was Brandon. And then when they were sitting you down to reprimand you, you got disrespectful with your boss's boss while your boss's boss's boss was sitting there. So let's be clear, Brian, this one's on you. Now, if Philip suspending you, I don't have no problem with it. This one's on you, Brian. So then Don Juan takes Brian outside because Brian gets loud. He takes Brian outside to talk to him. Now, granted, he's reprimanding Brian. Like, he's not giving Brian no passes. He's actually reprimanding Brian. But Philip gets pissed off because Philip was like, by Don Juan pulling Brian off to the side, it sends a message to Brian that he was right. But it doesn't send a message to Brian that he was right. I can see you feeling like it sends a message to Brian that he gets special treatment because he's getting like that, let me talk to you, bro. Let me talk to you. So Philip is now pissed off. And him and Don Juan get into it because he was like, listen, I am trying to establish some things here, and you pulling him aside, that is sending the wrong message. Now, Don Juan's attitude is, first of all, I'm going to need you to bring that decimal down because I'm big man on this totem pole. But his thing is, I keep putting out fires for Philip, which makes me feel like at some point it ain't everybody else, it's you, bruh. Like, if every time I look up, I got to put out a fire between you and another employee, then maybe this ain't the job for you, or you're not the person for this job. Child, then we see Chandrika done having water aerobics for the old lady gang, child. Listen, Aunt Bertha is just not here for none of the bullshit. Aunt Bertha is not here for none of it. None of the shenanigans and the fool-la-las, okay? They tried to compliment her on her bathing suit. She said, this bathing suit ain't cute, it's ugly. I don't like it. I don't want to do this shit. Then they get in the pool and Bertha is just standing there like, Chandrika trying to be all peppy and get them to do the dance moves and the different water aerobics, and she is like, they asked her, did she end up getting out the pool? So they asked her why she got out the pool. She said, because I had better things to do. I said, you know what? Bertha is just not playing with y'all, okay? Bertha is not playing with y'all. So, they get out the pool, and basically their only conversation that they were having was about, of course they having a conversation about the stuff down at the bar, and they get to talking about Philip. Baby, Bertha is not here for Philip. Bertha don't like him, and she said, you could say that. You could say, Aunt Bertha said she don't like Philip. I said, I know that's right, Bertha. I know that is right, Bertha. And then they got to talking about when Chandrika got sent home. Now, to hear Chandrika tell the story, she ain't do nothing wrong. She don't know why she got sent home because she didn't do nothing wrong. Well, we know that's not true, and we're not rehashing that. We saw Patrick. Like I said, I already said we saw Patrick with his girlfriend. Baby, he is whooped. If she say jump, he's saying how high. Okay, how long and how high. She is totally whooped. I mean, he is totally whooped. And he told her that he invited everybody to his housewarming, including the girl at the restaurant that he used to date. And girlfriend was like, okay, well, I don't like her coming, so we can just uninvite her. He was like, okay, whatever you say. We'll uninvite her. Whatever you say. I said, oh, okay. So y'all know that's going to be a problem, right? But anyway, that was pretty much this episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.